when they are cornered, religious folks like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, they really say they are not religious but spiritual. So when you go to the texts that they use, Christians, they say they are not a religion, and they say religion is humans trying to work their way to God. But if you read in the book of James 1:27, it says pure religion and genuine religion in the sight of God the Father means caring for orphans and widows. And then it goes on to explain what it means. The term religion used in this section of the Bible in the Greek is threskia. It is a word that is generally used to refer to religious worship and rituals, observance of religious duties, external acts of religious practices, as well as devotion. So when we look at Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, and many other religions that proclaim to represent the God who created the universe, we discover the shocking demands of God. Welcome to Hamiti Iburu Ethics YouTube channel, a Marifado Family Network broadcast. Subscribe today for exclusive empowering history, current affairs, commentary with a prophetic reality check, thought-provoking spiritual rich questions and answers, content that inspires you every second of your life, even in the face of any difficulties and uncertainty. Hit the bell icon to stay updated. Drop a comment below because we eagerly desire to read your comments and learn from your comments. Share this video with as many people as possible as we build and explore these topics together. Even the Islamic God is an angry God too. Here are his demands from the holy book that is read and crammed by every Muslim. In Koran 2:191, it says, slay the unbelievers wherever you find them. So it's forced religion. You must be a Muslim not to be killed. Koran 3:28, it says Muslims must not take the infidels as friends. So it is teaching that anyone who follows Islam must never have a friend who does not follow Islam. Quran 3:85 says any religion other than Islam is not acceptable. So all other religions according to Islam are not acceptable. This is an angry God. In all honesty, it cannot come from a loving creator. Quran 5:33 says maim and crucify infidels if they criticize Islam. So why wouldn't we criticize this if we do not agree with it? Quran 8:12 says terrorize and behead those who believe in scriptures other than the Quran. So if you are reading the Bible, if you are reading the Gita, if you are reading the book of coming forth by day, you must be beheaded. This is what they teach. These are the demands of their God on them to do this, because he goes on to say Muslims must master all weapons to terrorize the infidels. Quran 8:60. Quran 8:65 says the unbelievers are stupid. I urge the Muslims to fight them. So they shouldn't be using and driving cars that were invented by those that don't believe in their religion. They shouldn't be even riding planes. They shouldn't even be using AK-47s because those were created and crafted and invented by non-Muslims. So it says, Quran 9:5, when opportunity arises, kill the infidels wherever you catch them. Then Quran 9:30 says, the Jews and the Christians are perverts, fight them. Quran 9:123 says, make war on the infidels living in your neighborhood. So they would come in peace, they would come with the love, they would give you food, like what they are doing in Mutoko in Zimbabwe, where they are giving meat and other products to people. And people get these products and they think this is nice, this is good, these people are nice. But it is a goal. There is nothing for free that comes from these people. And Quran 22:19 says, punish the unbelievers with the garments of fire, hooked iron rods, boiling water, melt their skin and bellies. What kind of a God is this? Quran 47:4, do not hanker for peace with the infidels, behead them when you catch them. So all our brothers and sisters that follow religions like Nation of Islam, our great orators like Malcolm X, Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad, they never addressed these issues. They will never come to the point where they teach about Islamic slave of melanin dominant human beings, of Bantus. And when you consider the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob from the Torah, and you consider the New Testament, we learn that no more sacrifices were allowed, because the single sacrifice that was done by Jesus satisfied all the other animal sacrifices. But in Hebrews 9:22 it says, without the shedding of blood there is no forgiveness of sins, which means blood must be shed continually for sins to be forgiven. Hence you find Christianity engaging in a ritual known as the Last Supper. This ritual is known as theophagy, and the Christians are actually theophagians because they engage in a sacrament of eating a god, typically in the form of an animal image or other symbols, as part of their religious rituals, and commonly for the purpose of communion with that God. So if you go into the book of John 6:53, that section is a theophagy section. It says Jesus told them to eat his flesh, to drink his blood, so that they can have life. So that's the nature of an angry God who took his only begotten son and crucified him in extremely brutal and torturous, cruel manner. He was flogged, he was forced to carry his own cross, he was nailed to that cross and left to suffer for hours and hours in excruciating pain before dying. This cruelty and this method of execution underscores the intensity of the demand of this God for sacrifices. Why does God demand such pain and such sacrifices? Who is this God? Who is he sacrificing himself to? If Jesus' death was to appease a loving God, does it imply that God requires such a cruel sacrifice to then extend his grace and mercy? These are demands of a very, very vengeful God. The contemplation of this issue, which shows us the inherent violence of God, forces us to reconsider the very fabric of our existence in an environment that is dominated by people who follow such a psychopathic philosophy or religion. Why is it that this God makes such shocking demands for his people to perform? Let's look in the Old Testament then to find whether this pain, this bloody terror, if God continued or gave mandates for more sacrifices. There are daily sacrifices called tamid. Every day a lamb was sacrificed in the morning and another lamb in the evening. Read Exodus 29:38-42. When you go to the Feast of Tabernacles in the book of Numbers, especially Numbers 29:12-40, it describes the offerings of a large number of animals over the course of the festival, including bulls, rams, lambs, chooks, everything that had life. Solomon, reputed to be the wisest of all kings to ever walk the earth, where we have doubt about that, because there is nothing really that he left that we can look at which is comparable to the pyramids or to Great Zimbabwe or to Great Walls of Benin. So we cannot really buy that. Anyway, when he dedicated the temple that he built to his God, the God we are dealing with, the God of the Old Testament, the God of the New Testament, and the God of the Muslims, Solomon sacrificed 22,000 cattle and 120,000 sheep and goats. You find that in 1 Kings 8:63. In the Old Testament of the Bible, there are several verses where God is described as being pleased and satisfied by the aroma, the smell of sacrifices. Why? Do you think an unknowable creator, the one who is beyond everything, behaves like this? It is impossible. You are told that you have to wash to clean the internal organs and the legs with water, and then the priest or the sacrificer, the priest, would burn all of it on the altar as a food offering, an aroma pleasing to God, to the Lord in Leviticus 1:19. These are almost 30 verses which deals about burnt offerings and how you do them and when you must do them. These verses demonstrate the shocking demands of the God of Ancient Israel, who wants sacrifices, especially burnt offerings, clean animals. Why? Why are they central to his worship? Why does he demand to smoke that, to smell the smoke, and to become pleased and happy? Which means if he doesn't have this smoke, he is not pleased and he is not happy. This is a sad scenario, but it's getting worse. Then when you go to Islam, they've got a festival called Eid al-Adha, known as the Festival of Sacrifices, a major Islamic holiday that commemorates the willingness of Abraham to sacrifice his son, whether it was Isaac or Ishmael is a debate, as a sacrifice, as an act of obedience to God. So we call it a human sacrifice. It was performed because what you think and what you believe to do, you have done it. Then they go on to slaughter thousands of sheep, goats, cattle, cows, and camels in many countries, as well as in large numbers of animals sacrificed during these festivals annually. You think it's Islam only? You go to the Hindus, the God festival in Nepal. It involves the sacrifice of thousands of animals, including water buffaloes, goats, chickens, and the pigeons. It is held every 5 years at the God temple in the Bharat district of Nepal. Thousands and thousands of animals are killed and are dead after this festival. And this God loves it. It's the God of terror and the God of fear. So if you read Surah 3:151, it says, "We will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve for what they have associated with Allah, of which he had not sent down, and their refuge will be the fire, and the wretched is the residence of the wrongdoers." If you read the book Islamic Jihad, A Legacy of Forced Conversions, Imperialism and Slavery by M.A. Khan, you realize that Islam forces its conversion, it forces its religion to people. Sin is violation of the laws of nature. Sin is the violation of the laws of the gods. But the real creator, you can never sin against him, because the real creator goes beyond the chasm. The divine spark that is inside us does not sin, came to experience the earth. It is the physical body and physical reality in this universe that we must deal with. And therefore, these gods that demand sacrifices are actually trying to overrun the divine spark inside you. As Marifato Family Network, we say, they lie to you who say that God became a man or God is a spirit. Unless theirs is a spirit, then if so, their God is a deity. The real creator is not a being nor a spirit. The deities actually needs you. Deities like Yaldabaoth needs you. Deities like Yahweh, El, Allah, Adonai, they are there to want you, to control you, to take over your soul, to take over your power that is already inside you. Therefore, a lot of people are worshipping a fake deity, fake gods. It says here from Maximilian de Lafayette, 97% of the Bible is pure historical fabrication, and almost 95% of the biblical stories are copied from Phoenician, Ugaritic, Syrian, Canaanite, Mesopotamian, Hamitic myths, poems, texts, and stories written centuries before the Bible was crafted. The danger of converting to the God of the Torah, the Bible, the Koran, or any other God that didn't create you is that they want something from you. If you read Ezekiel 20:41, it tells us he will accept you as a fragrant incense when you convert to this God. The aroma of the burnt sacrifices, though metaphorically described as being pleasing to the divine essences, as well as symbolizing a form of spiritual communion and worship and acceptance, begins at a physical level when your mind, when your desires, when your energy has been co-opted and is being swallowed as a fragrant incense to these gods. And then you become what they call a living sacrifice. And what does it mean to be a living sacrifice? It means you are feeding these gods. These shocking demands of their God, of sacrifices, physically and spiritually, nourish the gods and the spirits, sustaining their power and presence in this world. Hence their demands, hence their followers, enslaving us without us provoking them. In summary, therefore, in this life, we must rediscover and awaken the true nature of divinity, the divine spark, which is not found in the external world, but which is found within us, which is us. And then we must use it as a transformative power of our own consciousness, not of any other deity. By never sacrifice anything to these gods who hate us via the actions of their followers, we are preserving our divine spark. Any religion that enslaved our ancestors, that colonized our lands, that is still colonizing us, that tells us that we are kafirs, that we are monkeys, we are baboons, we are nothing. Any religion that says that comes from the evil gods. And by the actions of the followers, we know that these evil gods are sucking our energy physically, spiritually, and mentally. Islam is not a natural African religion. It's a colonizing religion. Listen to what this Sheikh Al-Fawaz Zan says. Slavery is part of Islam. Slavery is part of jihad. And jihad will remain as long as there is Islam. Those who argue that slavery has been abolished, they are ignorant, not scholars. They are merely writers. Whoever says such things is an infidel. Then think about the nation of Islam, think about these Muslims, and think about these jihadists. You can go to this website and you can read more about that. So as we investigate, as we research, it is by their actions, the followers, that speaks louder than their words, that we must reconsider and that we must think about. Knowing the actions, which is the spirit of his or her followers, we can then know an evil God and not even follow and bow down to them. For they want you to have fear and they want you to sacrifice your divine spark for them. That is the energy they want from you. Therefore, if you want to learn more, send us an email, john@marfado.com. Till we meet again, remember and consider the shocking demands of their angry God. Seriously. Your manager Topi, Priest Rabbi LM Duzukunikani Mjaganja says, stay well, stay safe. Amen.